We got stressed cause we're striving, surviving, keep on moving to improving, rearranging. The whole world's changing, pandemic, systemic, rule making, rule breaking, disagreeing, no we're fighting or fleeing. Got a mind. Hey, the stress divides me. Welcome to my Behavioral Sciences of Alabama, licensed counselor, and I'm with Dr. David Barnhart. And we're going to talk about writing today. We're going to talk about the benefits of writing in terms of being able to write about our thoughts and feelings and the things that are causing us stress. The first thing I wanted to talk about is that sometimes writing gets this negative connection because we associate it with school and tests and pressure and homework and got to turn this thing in and all this responsibility. And that's not what this is. This is not a test. This is not going to be graded. This is not any kind of thing other than writing for the purposes of stress is about figuring out what's going on inside, to be able to evaluate our internal states.
Yes.
And the other part of that is that it's for us. It's for the person that's writing. It's not for the counselor. It's not, for any other reason that gaining insight and being able to help figure some things out so that we can make decisions and think in ways that are helpful.
So we ask people to write frequently in therapy. We want them to write things down. What do you ask people to write?
Okay, well, we use typically we'll start out using what's called a stress log. Okay, so the stress log would be the event or the trigger, what's happening in the moment of stress. Anytime someone feels any kind of uncomfortable feeling, that's any discomfort, they would write down what was going on at the time, what triggered that. Where are they? I was in my room, I was at school, I was at work, wherever that is, because we want to associate the stress with what's going on in the environment at the time. We'd ask someone to write what thoughts they're having, thought or thoughts. What thought is connected to this stress? What feeling? Anxious, angry, afraid, whatever that feeling is that's connected to this uncomfortable stressor. And then the last thing would be a level of discomfort. We call it the subjective unit of discomfort, SUD level. How uncomfortable it is it on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the highest. So the stress log really just breaks down and helps a person process what are the things that are surrounding this this stressful situation. So in doing that, we're working on increasing awareness, and we're working on increasing emotional regulation skills. So this awareness of what am I thinking, what am I feeling, what's causing this, and to be able to develop a skill to be able to respond to that and regulate and respond to emotions. The thing that we've talked about is that there's this break in this automatic or conditioned response when we write. We live in our life and we have a stressful thing happen, we usually just react to it and maybe we worry about it, or we get angry about it, or we try to avoid it, or you do something that we're conditioned to just do because we've been doing it for a long time. Writing helps us break that and learn how to regulate the emotion and learn how to understand what's going on. What are the thoughts? What are the feelings that's connected to that? One of the things Dr. Barnhart has talked about is that there's a limit to our working memory, so that we don't have a lot of working memory to be able to resolve and process complex thoughts and emotions. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so as we go through our lives, we are constrained by how much information that we can hold in our focus of attention. Um, Something like 4 to 7 chunks of information for a few seconds at a time. Um, you go back to the refrigerator, you open the door, and you go, "What did I come here to get?" That's an example of the constraint of working memory. So as you think about complex problems, that's just a lot of information to process. And we go to the trouble of writing them down, as you're suggesting, then it gives us an opportunity to process it
So if you,
without losing a bunch of information.
right, so combining, breaking this conditioned response and writing something down in order to process a complex situation helps us decide what to do with it, because that's ultimately the goal, is to become clear about what's going on internally
Yes.
and to be have this awareness so that we can make a decision and strategize about how to respond, because the chances are we're going to get similar triggers in the future.
High probability.
High probability. So if you've got, and that's a big benefit of the stress log, is to be able to, as you write things down, you may write one thing that happened and that didn't happen again all week. And then you might go, well, that was sort of an anomaly, but there's some pattern that you keep getting triggered by certain things. You keep having the same thoughts, same kind of feelings, and maybe responding in the same way. That's a pattern that's helped you increase the awareness of that pattern. And we want to get ahead of that as much as possible and be able to prepare for the triggers. So, so ultimately, writing helps us to process all those kinds of things, break up the conditioned response, and be clear about what's going on so that we can decide what to do that ultimately helps us meet our goals. So summarizing really quick.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go. I thought you were going to summarize. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that, and then you can wrap us up here. So helps us understand and process internal states and pattern of conditioned responses, helps us make decisions and strategize about how to respond out of awareness, changing the unhelpful conditioned response, and ultimately in ways that lead us to desired outcomes. So next time, what we'll do is we'll go over an exercise called the GOFAR test that helps us evaluate once we've written in the stress log how helpful or unhelpful our thought patterns are.
Excellent. I look forward to that.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. We got stressed cause we're striving, surviving, keep on moving to improving, rearranging. The whole world's changing, pandemic, systemic, rule making, rule breaking,